What is up, Wanderers? Today we are here to discuss my trip to Japan and how much did it cost total? What did I spend money on and how much money did I spend? Strap in, we're going to do a review and I'm going to be sharing some tips along the way and some things I learned about traveling in Japan and saving money. Let's get started. The first thing that you should know is that I traveled in April of 2023. It was a total of 16 days of travel with 15 nights of hotel stays. We're going to be looking at a full breakdown of expenses here. So the first thing we need to talk about is my plane ticket. I flew Delta out of Kentucky, Comfort Plus ticket, so that ran me $1,700. Your price will probably be considerably cheaper. So I use Google Explore every time I'm looking for a flight, and when I do that, you can just type in New York City here as let's say a more frequently used destination or origin, and then just type in Tokyo or Japan, and it'll give you all kinds of options. As you can see here, as we scroll through, we're going to start to see some different prices for Japan. And when we look at Japan over the next 6 months, and remember, you can set Google Explore to any 1 week or 2 week time frame with any time in the next 6 months, and you can play around with airports nearby. So you can leave from a variety of places. But what we find is that, on average over the next 6 months from when I'm recording this video, you can get to Japan for $1,000. And that's coach again. So, if you bring extra baggage, you're going to be paying more money. If you upgrade to a better seat, you're, of course, going to be paying more money. So let's take a peek here, and I'll scroll down and show you. See, Tokyo, $1,000, Kyoto, $1,000, Osaka, $1,000, Hiroshima, $1,200, and you're seeing thousands. And then some of the secondary locations get up to almost $2,500. But again, not impossible and not too unaffordable. So you're looking at about $1,000 for one plane ticket to Japan at this moment in time. Once you get to Japan, you have to worry about getting around. I bought the Japan Rail Pass, and it was a $500 purchase for me for the entire 2-week time that I was in Japan. I learned a lot about the dependability of Japanese transportation and trains. And I rode everything. I rode bullet trains, I rode trolleys, I rode trams, I rode boats, I rode buses, all kinds of things qualified for my Japan Rail Pass, which was really cool and a lot of fun. A great bargain, and I'd absolutely recommend you do it. Important to know, though, that the Japan Rail Pass is going to be almost doubling in price in October of 2023. So not included. Some city trams are included. Some buses, some ferries, some bullet trains, and like I said, it was a joy to get around and super affordable. Now, let's talk spending money. I took out about $300 in yen from an ATM, and I loaded up quite a bit of money onto Suica card, a prepaid card, $450 onto Suica card, and I used that at convenience stores and vending machines and some restaurants, and certainly those subways and buses that weren't covered by my Japan Rail Pass. So I found Suica to be very easy to use, and here's a tip. All I did was load it on my Apple Wallet. Once it was in my wallet, it was so easy to reload. The next major expense category was hotels. I spent quite a bit of money on hotels, and it was my second biggest expense. I was there for 15 nights, and I spent $1,598 total on those hotels. I used Booking.com for all my reservations, and I spent on average around $105 per night. All I did was pull up the city I was going to be in, sort it by very good and hotels, and find a reasonably priced hotel. Tokyo was the most expensive place I stayed, but I did get quite a few rooms around the country in nice business class hotels for around $45 or $50 with taxes included. So super easy to use Booking.com and super easy to find very affordable places to stay. You can also get, of course, capsule hotels and dormitories for even cheaper. I did find that prices spiked as you got closer to the day that you wanted to stay. So when I looked 3 months in advance, I saved about 30%. Hotels were clean, rooms were smaller than I was used to, but very well appointed, and in general, I was very happy with what I got for my average $100 spend on hotels. All right, I know a lot of you were wondering about food. What did I spend on food? It was actually not a huge expense for me. I spent around $300 on food for the entire trip. My average meal cost me about $10, and many were much cheaper than that, $7 or so. I also ate a lot at convenience stores because, heck, it was convenient and it was easy. So some of my food budget was rolled up into what you just heard from my Suica budget. But overall, I found Japan to be extremely affordable for food and extremely delicious for food too. Lots of fun fast food options and lots of great meals for $10 or so. One thing to be aware of, taxis are pretty expensive. I did end up spending almost $75 on taxis. So they were more expensive. They were a little bit pricier, almost like a private car service. So taxis set me back $75 across the trip. All right, time for the grand total. So I spent $1,700 on my flight, $1,600 on hotels, $120 on a pocket Wi-Fi device, $75 on taxis, $300 on cash withdrawals, $450 for reloading my Suica card across the trip, $275 on restaurants, $527 on my Japan Rail Pass, another $480 on souvenirs. You may not have that expense. The grand total for my trip to Japan across 16 days and 15 nights was $5,525, and it was worth every penny. I mean, really, once I got there, it was pretty dang cheap. That's 2 full weeks of travel with everything included for just about $5,500. It was the trip of a lifetime. We went all over Japan. We went from Tokyo to Kyoto to Osaka, all the way down to the southern island of Kyushu. Man, we saw so much, and it was a lot of fun. There was an absolute ton of variety and amazing places in this country. Saw villages and major cities and smaller towns and natural wonders. Really pretty amazing. Went all the way north to Hokkaido as well. So burned up that Japan Rail Pass and learned a lot about traveling and exploring this beautiful country. So total spend $5,500, absolutely worth it, would repeat, and this bucket list trip absolutely lived up to what I was expecting to get out of it. So if you have questions for me about the trip or the expenses or anything else about traveling in Japan, I will do my best to answer those questions and help you out. Just drop those questions in the comments, and I'd be glad to share more about my experience with all of you. Wanderers, as always, thank you so much for watching, and hope this video was helpful for you if you are planning a trip to Japan or wondering about it. See you next time.